Hello, everybody. So if we had the opportunity to help you become an immigration consultant by helping you pass the ICCRC exam, I've got some great news for you. So now that you are an RCIC and you have clients of your own who need help passing the IELTS exam, well, we would love to help you help your clients reach their goal. So in this video, we'll talk about partnership opportunities with us at EnglishExamPrep.com. And if you know the teaching style that we use with helping you prepare for the ICCRC exam. And if you trust us, if you like us, if we helped you reach your goals, it would be really such a pleasure for us to help you help your clients reach their IELTS goals. All right, so now that you are an RCIC, you probably have a lot of initial consultations with potential clients. And I'm going to show you a common scenario for this. So usually you'll have people who contact you. Some people will appear to qualify for immigration, other people won't. For the people who do qualify for immigration or appear to qualify for immigration, well, you would probably organize an initial consultation for them. Now, it's pretty straightforward to take a look at a person's education, work experience, age, and things like that. However, in terms of their language score, this can often make or break a client to see if they qualify for certain programs. This is the conversation that pretty much always happens, right? So you'll look at a person's profile, you'll have an interview with a person, and great, their education looks perfect, at work experience looks perfect, they're at a certain age as well. And then you get to this question, right? Do you know your IELTS score? And almost always you'll get this answer. The answer will be no, I don't know my score, but I work in an English-speaking environment. I have English-speaking friends. I traveled to maybe Australia or Canada before, and I consider myself to be an advanced speaker, an intermediate speaker. So it gives you as the RCIC kind of a starting point to work with, but what happens all the time is this. So your meeting comes to this little hurdle. Okay, go get your IELTS results done, come back, then we can start working on your immigration plan. So this happens to a lot of RCICs. Is it a good position to be in? Not really. I mean, you are doing something good, of course, which is you're not taking on a client who doesn't qualify, which is great. For the client, yeah, perfect. They'll say, okay, great, I'll be in touch. And you finish that meeting, and then what happens after this? So I think you know, you're sitting around hoping that this person actually goes to get those IELTS results and will come back to you. Now, does this happen? Does the person actually come back? Sometimes yes, but I would say often no. So this is a difficult position for you to be in as an RCIC because you want to help this client. You want to have clients who qualify, who you can represent, and you've invested time in this client already. So when I say you've invested 2 to 4 hours in this one client, it's because what often happens is you'll have a client who maybe fills out your assessment form on your website, they pay your consultation fee. You're doing a little bit of research before that person comes for the meeting, of course. So maybe you're doing an hour or two of research based on that person's profile before the person comes to this meeting. Then you have this meeting, then you have a little bit of follow-up. So really it's 2 to 4 hours of work for you. And then this person probably won't come back anyways, or maybe in a couple of years the person will be in touch with you. And why is this? It's not anything you did wrong or anything like that. It's just the way that kind of this journey goes when you don't have a partnership with an IELTS provider. So you can see at the bottom here, I've got a few notes. You did make a positive impression, of course. You're being professional, you're being ethical. If a person does not have the qualifications to immigrate, you cannot represent that person. As for PR, right? Maybe as a student or something like that, you can. However, if a person doesn't qualify, you won't tell them that they qualify for a program. You have to wait till all of the information comes in, including, of course, that IELTS score. So on the client's side, when you think of this from the client's perspective, the client went to you for kind of an initial consultation and to see if there is maybe an option for them. What you did, of course, was you said, yeah, maybe there is an option for you. and as the client thinks that you kind of sent them away to do a whole bunch of things and then come back, right? Rather than you helping that client with that very important step. So a lot of RCICs do this where you might not have an IELTS educational provider, or maybe you just send them to a school that you heard of, or you might just tell them to kind of figure it out on their own. And it's understandable for RCICs. I mean, you have a lot of things to do with clients, but there's one step that I think costs you clients. So you want people to become your clients, but if you're not helping them out with this step, it's a hurdle towards, of course, acquiring that person as a client. Okay, so I'm going to show you what to do instead. Instead, if you have a partnership with us at EnglishExamPrep.com, this is how those meetings would go. All right, so you'd have the same kind of questions and things like that. So education, work experience, and then you get to that IELTS question, and the person would say again, no, but I consider myself to be at a certain level. Great. So here's the plan. So now you have a plan. You can help this person immediately, rather than sending this person away and saying, okay, figure this out and then come back. You can do this. So this is your 3-step plan for this person. You're helping this person right away. So if you have a partnership with us, you can give this person access to the online IELTS training program that we'll talk about later on immediately. You can give it access to them on the spot if you want. You have access to do that. So access for them is 60 days. They'll have to complete their lessons within 60 days. Why 60 days? Well, it gives you a lot of information actually. If a person is willing to begin this right away, willing to work through all the lessons within 60 days, it tells you that the person is a good candidate for you to work with. Remember, you have to be selective with who you want to work with. And if you have a client who's motivated, driven to begin those lessons and can work through those lessons in 60 days and get their IELTS results around then as well, perfect. So that shows you have a client who's willing to invest in you, who is willing to work with you so that you can help them reach their goals. Okay, so during those 60 days, while the person is working through those IELTS lessons and getting their IELTS exam done, well, you have the opportunity to work on other elements of their profile, right? So you can do the ECA, you can validate the work experience, all that type of stuff while this person is getting those IELTS results. Okay, so and the third step here, so this is what you tell this person, of course, during this initial consultation. This is the plan for you to help them. And the general public pays $500 for those IELTS lessons. But if you have a partnership with us, you're paying the RCIC fee because you're buying in bulk. You can send us an email, of course, to see the amount that you, the RCIC, pays compared with the general public. But the general public pays $500 for these lessons. Now, for you as an RCIC, you might charge this person $250. You might charge them more, you might charge them less. It's up to you. Well, once that person has those IELTS results, you're going to put, or what a lot of RCICs do is they will put that $250 investment that the client made into the retainer fee. So if you're charging $3,000 on your retainer fee, well, you can let the person know that the $250 they're paying for the IELTS training goes towards that $3,000 once they have those IELTS results. So this does a lot for your client. I'll talk about that in about 30 seconds here, but someone like this, so you'll continue on that conversation and that person leaves your office. Now, what happens after this? Is this person likely to become your client? Well, yes, this person is more likely to become your client rather than the previous example, which was having a meeting with somebody and then kind of sending them away to figure things out on their own. So why is this a good way to obtain clients? And remember, we're not just thinking of obtaining any client or anything like that. It's clients who we can help and clients who qualify for programs. Well, there's a lot of reasons why a partnership with us at EnglishExamPrep.com can help you get more clients and help those clients that you have. Well, when you think of it from the client's perspective, you've helped him or her already. So you're helping them with that first step. Now that is, of course, getting as high of a score in the IELTS as possible. As you know, there's a huge difference between a CLB 7 and a CLB 9, especially in terms of express entry and CRS points and immigration options. And if you are the person who can help them obtain that score, perfect. I mean, you're already helping this person before doing the PR application. So it's a big, big, big help for them. And if you look at number 2, instead of just sending this person away and saying, okay, figure this out and come back. Well, if you think of that from the client's perspective, I mean, they might think that you're just going to send them off to do things and then come back. And they might wonder if you're going to help them with even the immigration, or if they're going to do most of the work. So when you think of it from the client's perspective, I think it really is a big deal for them, because it's the first step in your journey together with them towards them becoming Canadian. Now, on your side as well, remember that your time is extremely valuable. You don't have an infinite amount of time. You probably, for a lot of people, I know you work as consultants, as sole proprietors. So you have your own business, and for some people it might be sort of a 20-hour per week job. And I think that's a great idea. I think that's what to do. Other people, you might work 40 hours a week, 50 hours a week, or maybe even more with your clients. And you know that filtering clients you want to work with is a big part of the job. Now, if you have somebody who's willing to pay $250 or whatever you're charging for those IELTS fees at that moment, perfect. That is someone who is a serious client, and is someone who you should consider to be someone who you might want to work with in the future. Now, when you talk about number 3 in the blue one here, where you're carrying over that investment into the retainer agreement, think of how the client feels about that. Now, the client would be happy because she is already investing in you, and you're already providing a service. Now, when you carry that $250 over towards the retainer, which might be whatever you're charging the person, of course it depends on the program that the person's immigrating through. Well, that person is going to be happy because they've taken a couple steps towards immigration already, and they've taken a couple steps towards the relationship with you, representing them already. And of course, for you as the RCIC, I mean, it's a really important step that the person gets the best IELTS training possible, because as you know, it's very, very, very disappointing to have a client who maybe needs a CLB 7 and they wind up getting CLB 8 in everything, and then a CLB 6 in writing, which is very common for people to get a lower score in writing. And you know that you can't really do too much until a person overcomes that obstacle. So on their side, they get the best IELTS training possible. They get immediate help. On your side, you'd get to give them immediate help. And of course, the lessons are there to really, really, really help them get that high IELTS score. All right, so you want to make sure that your clients are in good hands for their IELTS journey. Now, on my side, if we met through our ICCRC exam preparation services, well, you know my teaching style, you know how we work. You know that if you are referring your clients to us for IELTS preparation, well, we are going to treat them like gold. Now, I'm part of a team over here, and the rest of the team is equally as qualified, as enthusiastic in helping your clients reach their goals. Everyone here really, really, really specializes in IELTS specifically. Now, there's a lot of programs out there for IELTS lessons or for English lessons, and a lot of them focus on, of course, English. So English language, English as a second language, but there aren't really too many where you have a team who knows as much as we do, who really, really, really focus on IELTS. So if you remember from our lessons with your exam preparation for the ICCRC exam, our job really was to link your immigration knowledge with the exam. Well, with this program, we do the exact same thing. We're linking your client's general English knowledge with the IELTS exam to, of course, let them know what the examiners are looking for, and to give them strategies so that they can demonstrate their English knowledge to the examiners to get as high of a score as possible. So the system works like this. This is what your clients will get. We'll talk about this later on, but you can give access to your clients anytime you want. Let's say you have a client who sends you an email and it's 2 in the morning and they want access right now. Perfect, go for it. You can give them their 60 days access on the spot. Now with these lessons are designed for your clients who have a strong English foundation already. So that would be clients with an upper intermediate level of English or advanced level of English who just need to take the exam and get as high of a score as possible. As you know, there's a huge difference between a CLB 7 and a CLB 9 when it comes to clients and their immigration options. And if you can do something to help them achieve that CLB 9, perfect. I mean, that's really what you are doing with your job. So in general, if it's the right type of client, it takes them about 3 weeks to move up either a half band or full band, sometimes even more than that. Often, or you probably know this, but often the issue is with writing. So you'll sometimes have a client who maybe has a band 7 in everything and then maybe a 6 in writing. Or maybe a 7 in speaking, 7 in listening, but then reading and writing, they get a 6. Well, that's my dream client because I know I can help this client move everything up really, but especially that reading and writing. Okay, so they are going to have access to the video lessons. Now, we'll talk about the video lessons in the rest of this video here. And again, there's tons and tons and tons of exercises in there. There's tons of examples. There's tons of questions that they can do, and of course, strategies that they work through. And there's a lot of course, examples that they can implement and techniques they can implement right away. So you're going to have clients. I know the type of clients that you have. They are business people who are busy, who have 20 minutes here, 20 minutes there to access the videos to make sure that they study. I completely understand it, and that's why they have access 24/7. You might have a client who wants to work on the videos for 20 minutes in the morning while he's having breakfast and for maybe 30 minutes at night after he or she puts the kids to bed. Perfect. That's what they are there for. Okay, so there's a 60-day limit for your clients. So when you give access to your clients, they will have access to those videos for 60 days. Why 60 days? Well, it's for you, actually, the RCIC. If you have a client who, let's say you give access for a year, you're going to see that in 366 days, that client is going to come to you and say, oh, I was too busy, I didn't do the lessons. Meanwhile, you're waiting there for a year for this person to actually get their IELTS results, right? If you give 90 days, if you give 120 days, it's the same thing. So 60 days we found is the perfect amount of days for your clients because it forces them to begin working right now. They'll work through the lessons in 60 days. They'll hopefully take their IELTS exam right after that or even within those 60 days. And then for you, the RCIC, well, you get to finalize the immigration plan for this person because within 60 days, if everything goes to plan, they'll have those IELTS results they need, and those are the IELTS results that you need, of course, as well, in order to help this client. So that's why we put in a 60 days access. With your clients, of course, it's really important to emphasize that they have 60 days to do this. Otherwise, you know that they will maybe just not do the lessons, or maybe they're just not serious about immigration in general. So for you, it's great because it helps you see who's a serious client. And for them, it's great because it forces them to work through this very important step very quickly. Okay, so the videos are 30 hours in total. Now, about half of this is writing because writing is a very, very, very difficult area of the exam. Worldwide, people score lower in writing than everything else. And the foundation of the writing lessons really helps with every other area in the exam. So when they work through those videos, there's always a lot of homework. They can do as much homework as they want or as little as they want. If they do all the homework, all the videos, and it's the right candidate, they're going to move up in their score. It's that simple. Okay, so in those videos, there's a lot of simulations. So we teach them really what to expect in the exam, teach them strategies to show the examiner that they have a high level of English. We teach them exactly what the examiners are looking for. You have simulation exams in there as well. So listening and reading, it's automatic. It gives you a score on the spot. You have an explanation of each question. For the speaking, you also have a simulation exam where you can speak. There's an online system for your clients as well where they can record their own voice during the speaking exam so they can listen to it later on. We give them samples of advanced performances so they can mimic their performance based on this, and there's a lot more. So we'll keep talking about the lessons in this video as well. But like I said, I mean, we really focus very strongly on writing and reading. For a lot of your clients, a typical client is someone who maybe has experience working in an English-speaking environment, and they really have some practical skills in English. Does this translate over to an IELTS context? And often the answer is yes, but not completely. So what we want to do is make sure that they completely understand what the examiners are looking for. They have strategies to implement to make sure they get as high of a score as possible. And of course, how do they do this? Well, it all starts with writing, really. So that's what we work on at the beginning, is reading and writing, and then those skills, those strategies transfer over into listening and speaking. Okay, like I said, I mean, the perfect candidate is someone who already has those advanced English skills or upper intermediate skills, and they just need to learn how to transmit this into an IELTS exam context. Now, in addition to this, so the system is amazing. We'll talk more about the system in the next 15 minutes or so. But the price that the public pays is about $500, or is exactly $500 for you as RCICs. So we only work with RCICs and a couple of Canadian lawyers and a couple of Canadian schools. But for RCICs, you can buy bundles of this, and then you either resell this to your clients or you include it in your services. When you have a client who's maybe shopping around to different immigration companies, it's a good way to stand out as well, is that they get this for free or they get this at a discounted price compared with another group or immigration company who simply tells them to go get their IELTS and come back. Okay, so what do your clients learn about in an IELTS context? Well, we go through everything, right? So we go through reading, writing, listening, speaking. And in reading, so reading forms the foundation of what we talk about. So we'll talk about some strategies within reading. We'll go through all of these in the lessons. Now, remember, there's 30 hours of lessons, so I don't really want to go through everything here. Of course, if you're an RCIC and you want an account for yourself to log in and see the lessons, perfect. Send us an email. I'll organize an account for you, and you will be able to log in and see exactly what your clients will receive. But really, it's all about strategizing towards the exam. It's not a general English course. If your client reads newspapers in English and maybe works in an English-speaking environment and that type of thing, perfect. Let us work with them in helping them transmit that knowledge into an IELTS context, and we'll make sure that they, of course, reach as high of a score as possible. So in the reading, they will work through analyzing reading and looking through the reading, really looking through the questions, answering the questions properly, avoiding common mistakes, knowing what the examiners are looking for, and of course demonstrating this to the examiner. Now after all of this, so you can see the 9 areas that we cover in that lesson. Well, after all of this, they have 3 full reading simulations to work through. Now this includes a score based on their performance, includes an analysis of each answer that they've given. So they need to know why their answer is correct, why their answer was incorrect, and of course, which areas, which question types that they are getting correct, which question types that they are getting incorrect. Now, this allows them to go back. If there's a certain question type that they are not doing well in, perfect. It gives them time to go back, analyze that question type again through the lesson, and then try again with another simulation. Okay, so writing is a very, very, very tricky area of the IELTS. Like I said, worldwide, people score lower in writing than anything else. Now, we do, of course, split the lessons according to whether or not the person is taking IELTS General or IELTS Academic. IELTS General is, of course, for immigration, and we work through everything, really. So out of all of those lessons, there's about 15 hours, or even more, actually, than that, of just IELTS writing. So if they work through those lessons, they're going to get a high score. We have a whole ton of strategies that we incorporate. This is everything I know about IELTS, everything I've ever researched about IELTS in my 10 years of working with this exam. And really, I mean, the three areas that we focus on, it's throughout all of the lessons here. So it's really about anticipation. What can a person expect on the exam? Also, of course, understanding how the examiners grade the exam. What are the examiners looking for, and how can we strategize to give the examiners exactly what they are looking for? So this is how we analyze our performance, of course, in general training. One, how we analyze which strategy we're going to use, and of course, the whole plan is to make sure we get as high of a score as possible. So these are the 13 steps we work through with GT1 in order to make sure that that is what we can do. Okay, so if your clients are taking the academic version of IELTS, of course, we discussed this thoroughly. So one of the biggest differences between general and academic is in writing task 1. So we work through this quite a bit in academic. Now, we look again at what the examiners are looking for, strategies, etc. And of course, that number one academic task 1 secret is how to really make sure if you have a client who is a scientist or something like that, and maybe they've been working in an English-speaking environment. Sometimes people have PhDs and that type of thing, and they don't get a high score in academic writing task 1 simply because they don't know that little strategies. So we want to make sure that they know as much as they can, and of course that they can implement this every single time by using the techniques that we discuss. Now for your clients, if your clients want individual feedback on their writing or speaking, we can do it. It's a small fee on their side. So for you, the RCIC, most RCICs want to provide the whole system for their clients. And then if the clients want something extra, such as individual feedback on their writing or speaking, perfect, we can do it. They would pay the additional fee though, not you, the RCIC. Okay, so then they move through task 2. And again, it's all step by step. So if they've gone through the reading lesson, the task 1 lesson, all of that works into task 2 because we're learning about structure, question types, strategies. And of course, the big reason we're looking at this, of course, is because we need to know what the examiner is looking for, and we need to strategize to really give them exactly what they're looking for. Now there's a ton of homework that the person can do. Sometimes people like to do all of the homework because they want to really make sure they're doing as much as they can. Other times people like to do just a little bit of the homework, and that's perfectly fine. Of course, the homework is, number 1, getting used to writing task 2 in the allocated time that you have with the strategies that we're doing, implementing the strategies as well. And once they're done this, we show them a perfect response so that they can mimic this response and model really their response on this when they go take the real exam. We also show them, of course, other responses that are not so perfect so that we can analyze what the person did well, what the person didn't do well, and of course, how to improve. And of course, listening. So listening is an important part of the exam. Most people get higher in listening and speaking than they do in reading and writing. So we put listening right in the middle here of the lessons. And by knowing the question types when we've gone through the reading portion of the training, well, it helps people with the listening portion of the exam as well. Now, after they work through the lesson on listening, they will again go through our three IELTS exam simulations. They'll get an instant score from the software. They will, of course, get the opportunity to see why each question they answered was correct or incorrect. And again, this is another little step for them that they can conquer pretty quickly and really make sure that they get as high of a score as possible. And finally, speaking. So speaking is often the last part of the exam that your clients will take. And as you know, speaking goes into 3 steps. So we talk about each step of the 14-minute speaking exam and what to do in each step of this. So again, We need to know what the examiners are looking for, what the exam's going to be like, and of course strategies to give the examiners exactly what they are looking for. Okay, so in the end of this video, I just wanted to go back to this slide here because really this is your goal. It's to help your clients, and that's our goal as well. So we would love to help you be able to help your clients. It is such a great opportunity for you because again, you get to help your client right away. When you're thinking of your clients as well, I mean, they're shopping around to different immigration companies probably. And if you're the company that can help them right there, right now, well, perfect. I mean, I hope this will bring you a lot of clients. I hope you will enjoy the lessons. I know a lot of RCICs use our services already. We have over 1,000 clients of RCICs who have gone through the IELTS lessons. And I hope that you will bring a lot of clients through here. I hope we can help you help your clients to get as high of a score as possible. And I'll give you the next steps in the next slide here. All right, so in the end, if you're excited to join us in a partnership, I can't wait to work with you. Send us an email to info@englishexamprep.com and we will take the next steps. So when you're thinking of why this partnership would be beneficial for you and your company and your clients, well, we've talked about it quite a bit in this 30-minute video. And really, it gives you an edge in client services. So you get to better serve your clients. And of course, you get to turn people into clients because you are helping them through that first step of immigration, which is passing the IELTS exam. Now, on our side for our program, we're really specifically focused on IELTS. We're not focused on general English. For your clients, they'll probably have years and years and years of English lessons anyways, and maybe they've got that foundation of English that we can work with. Perfect. The whole team that I work with as well, we're all very focused on IELTS and of course on helping your clients reach their goals, which helps you, the RCIC, reach your goal of helping your clients. So I can't wait to work with you. Send us an email and we will begin the process right away. Okay, everyone, have a good day. Thanks for tuning in. And again, congratulations on your exciting businesses as immigration consultants.